came here to say that you don't really want it with us. Yeah, we live, you know. We came here to say that you don't really want it with us. Yeah, the sports show.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Yerrr Sports Show. I'm your host, Big Baby, a.k.a. the soul of R&B. To my right, no. We got no. I'll save that for last. I got you. To my bottom left, we have the voice of the generation, Pete Rosado.
What is good, everybody?
Mr. Traffic Jam himself.
Yo, listen,
in the building. To the bottom right, we have BK, Matt.
What's going on?
What's going on, Oos? And
Oos.
To our top right, we have the returning, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the Yerrr Sports Show, the Queen Tay.
Yerrr! What's good, everybody? The Queen is back.
Yes, the Queen is back in full effect. Welcome back. We missed you. We definitely missed you.
I missed
She needs one of those. She needs one of those WCW David Buffer WCW pay-per-view entrances.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Yo, how much money did WCW
I was just about to
spend?
ask that.
How
Like,
much
they
money
paid
did
him
WCW spend just having David Buffer do their pay-per-views?
Who's David?
was
No,
Warren,
Bruce
bro.
is his brother.
It's Bruce.
Warren.
Bruce is the one that does MMA.
Okay. They all
David
look
did WCW. I thought that was.
David Buffer. That don't even sound.
I thought that was actually Warren who actually.
I thought it was Warren too.
Really thought it was
No,
Warren.
It has to be
Buffer
Warren.
is the rich white dude.
It's Michael Buffer.
Michael
Yeah, we got
Buffer.
Michael Buffer to do
Oh,
it. It was
they
Michael
look
Buffer.
They look
Yeah,
the same.
Bruce-
Not
Bruce
They
is
all
the
look the
brother.
same.
not being racist. They all look
Yeah,
the
because they're
same.
brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
but they
Bruce
look-
is the one that does MMA now. I think he does UFC and everything now.
And Michael Buffer was the one that made millions off of that damn phrase alone from the boxing world, and then they started using him in the
In
the
WCW.
boxing world. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they used
So
him on like
it's-
every major pay-per-view.
For the
You know, but
whack
after
main
he was
events.
Yeah,
That's
but it was
right.
like,
The wackest main events ever.
but
always.
if I'm not mistaken, his booking fee, from what I heard, was upwards of $50K at the height of his career.
Oh, that is wild.
More than that.
Just
I heard it was like 100.
So if you
So-
spend 100K, if you do 10 to 12 pay-per-views a year, and you getting him for every pay-per-view,
And
You-
he had a bang.
right?
And he was on Nitros too sometimes.
Oh my God!
He was on
So
Nitros
whack.
too.
How
Bang.
much
Those
money
whack
did
main
they spend
events.
just on
And
Mike?
then he got his brother in on the. He jukes all the sports, man.
All of them.
Mhm.
Just for let's get ready to rumble. Like when
They made a video game out of it.
Yeah, I said that.
He's not
already.
I like.
Yo,
You know what the
crazy.
funny thing was? I wasn't even big on the "Let's get ready to rumble." It was always that lead up phrase where it was like,
Yeah. Dun, dun,
For
dun.
the
You know what
1,000
it's called, the music, like they play in the NBA finals. Dun, 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 dun,
1,000%
dun, dun, dun.
and the million watching around the world.
Stupidest shit ever.
And then he would go into it. I'm just like, yo, this was great.
Yo, 90s, real 90s kids used to get real hype. They knew that if Michael Buffer was
Dan
on
Buffett's.
a
One of them.
show,
Yeah.
it was a big damn deal. They knew that.
If it was WCW, it was a whack main event. Don't
Not
act me
always.
crazy.
Come on, stop
Not
it.
always.
They had their
Not
time.
all of
to
them was
shine.
whack. Not all.
All
of
right,
them
They
name-
was
had their
whack.
time. to
Name
shine.
two.
Huh?
Name two. Name two.
What?
That he did that and it was a nice main event.
I don't know how many times he did it for WCW.
That means it wasn't that great. If it was
Love
forgettable.
WCW. I've been telling you guys for years, right? You know, I'm not really the pro wrestling expert,
Mhm.
but Brian Pillman was always my favorite wrestler, and it
I
was
like them too.
and that Dark Side of the Ring episode that came on last week was so good.
And that was only part one.
I thought that was both parts.
I
No,
thought it
that
was
was
an hour and 40. So he died and they did the funeral and then they talked about his son. How was that not it?
No,
more?
part one was
Four
the one
babies.
that came out, and they stopped it right when he was right
That's the
when he
YouTube version.
right when he went to the WWE.
That's the YouTube version.
As
Right.
they
And then part two, I haven't seen part two yet.
Part 2 is on Vice. They
It's on Vice.
aired it on Thursday.
Yeah.
I gotta check.
And let me tell you something. This was the wrestling I remember as a kid. And I tell you, there's so many unsung heroes in different industries, and Brian Pillman is one of them. I don't think there'd be an Attitude Era without him.
At all.
Yeah.
I think I remember that ECW promo. I remember all that blurring the lines between reality and non-reality. And I feel as if, we got to show you guys as an industry has to show his son some love.
Absolutely.
Show his son some love, man.
Absolutely.
And his girls, and his girls, like, what a tragedy.
Oh man, man.
What a tragedy.
You just gotta see the part 2. We can't really talk as much. I just want to tell you, I just want to say, like, you literally, because it's been so long, you forget how good he was. And if con artist was a definition, it would be Brian Pillman for what he did to Eric Bischoff. Because that was hilarious. That was great.
Eric Bischoff deserves every part of
he
karma.
Still can't admit it. He still can't admit it.
In terms of wrestling, because as a person, I don't know him. In terms of wrestling, every type of karma, he deserves that.
Yo, he won't admit it.
Pillman was he's one of the unsung members of the Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people forget. A lot of people forget that he was a horseman, and he was a damn good horseman.
It was him, on Rick, and he whose name should never leave my mouth.
Right. But and the funny thing was when Pillman became a horseman, it was beautiful the way that it happened, because it was that whole double turn where it made it look like, Pillman and Rick were baby faces, and then they both flipped back to the heel side. It was, if you ever watched that match, it was a fantastic match. Pillman was a master at getting emotion out of the crowd. I've heard interviews where and they kind of touched on it, and then Dark Side of the Ring Part 1. Flair wanted to make him. They filmed a whole bunch of vignettes. They filmed a whole bunch of promos where Flair further messes up his neck, and Pillman comes back as his top-level babyface. And I think it was, of course, Jim Herd who cut it.
Dre, before you go to the next topic, my question is, if he would have never got hurt, do you think he would have went to WWE for a cup of coffee just to go back to WCW for more money? Y'all believe that?
He would have been the anti-Austin.
Yeah.
You see how it took them a while to kind of put people with Austin for it to work. They tried the Austin Brett, Austin this, Austin Sean. I think that this would have catapulted the 316 a lot sooner. It was getting there. And I feel as if we'd be discussing, I think we'd be talking more Austin Pillman and more Rock Triple H.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Pillman. People also forget about his time in the Hart Foundation, that big Hart Foundation stable that they had at that time that Pillman was a part of.
The only non-Hart family member.
Right. I think, first off, Pillman being taken way too soon from not only the world, but the world of wrestling, of course, as well. I would have loved to have seen what matchups between Pillman and The Rock could have been. I would have loved to have seen matchups between Pillman and Austin when, Austin hit his peak. I would have loved to have seen Pillman versus Shawn, Pillman versus Hunter, all those different types of matchups. But I want to even think about it like this. I've said this about a couple of people before. But Pillman, definitely. Pillman was 20 years before his time. Imagine Pillman in today's professional wrestling world, in the world that's been a professional wrestling for the last 10 or so years, you think, what Pillman can do in terms of changing reality, changing what people think, blurring those lines. Pillman could have been an even bigger star in the last 15 to 20 years of professional wrestling than he was even in the time that he was in the professional wrestling business.
Agreed. How's everybody's?
We still having trouble with the stream?
Yeah, Facebook is tripping. So,
just gonna be a podcast for
no. It's live, but we're on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. The links are on my page.
Matt repping the new the new appearance of.
So
that's crazy.
How's everybody? How's everybody week?
I had some sunny days, some cloudy days.
Please don't say sunny days. Please don't.
Well, you know what I mean? Some sunny days, some cloudy days. The weather was nice.
Please stop. No.
Seriously.
He's going back to our conversation from Monday. When you
God. No. I meant, like,
we would never say that phrase ever.
It was some beautiful weather this week, and then there was some ugly weather this week.
Definitely was.
That's better.
I agree, 100%.
I mean, granted, I'm homebound. I can't go nowhere, but. And then you know what ruined my week? That I went to a new eyebrow lady and she gave me the thinnest eyebrows on God's green earth. I'm so mad. It feels like it's 1997 up in this piece, and I almost knocked her out.
You gotta relax.
Almost. Did you swing? Did you swing and in the wind?
Almost. If I was at full strength, if I was like me, I would have missed today's episode for sure.
Oh man,
I was
gotta relax.
Pete, how was your week?
She's lucky I couldn't reach.
Oh man,
because I caused
relax. You gotta relax.
I flipped some things over.
Just a little bit.
No, this is my face. You might not mind your eyebrows going into your do-rag, but I mind.
I don't know the difference, so I never paid attention to that.
Anyway, that's my week. How was your week, Pete?
Yeah.
It's been an okay week. I mean, I'm in that vein of like, is it June yet? You got about 5 weeks left of the school year. But stressful on some things. Working on some side projects, and those things are kind of stressing me out a little bit. More than I had hoped that they would. Like I knew it was gonna stress me out, but more so than I thought it would. It's kind of stressing me out, but otherwise, just pushing through the week and doing what I can,
BK.
That's about it.
It was a rough week for me.
Yeah.
Work was a little difficult, and just when I got good news, bad news followed. One of my friends, passed away yesterday morning. So I'm kind of dealing with that at the moment, but
Yeah, and we all with you, bro. We all with you. Definitely our deepest condolences. My week is all right.
I was about to ask you because I'm about to say nobody ever asked you. You just volunteer it. So I was about to say, Trey, how was your week?
Thank you. I just pushed the buttons.
Stop it.
Nah, the week was good. The week was pretty cool. Like I said, the weather was pretty nice. Work wasn't too much. I'm just preparing myself to move up. Nothing I'll talk about on here yet till I let the world know, but you already know what's up. So.
Who just did that? No.
That was me. That was completely unexpected.
You want to know a pet peeve of mine?
Mm.
That sound. It'll make me gag.
You mean that like clear your throat thing?
Yeah.
All my in-laws do that. My wife and all my in-laws do that. They wake up in the morning just going crazy with that. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all?
Now, I think the worst thing that happens to me is during the springtime because I wake up with allergy sneezes.
Me too.
She does too.
I've been getting trashed by allergies. Allergies been beating me up. But Pete, you ready for quick hits?
I am ready. Let's go.
Let's rock and roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Quick Hits for the week of Saturday, May the 8th, and we are sponsored by Mother's Day, because you should be celebrating with your mamas tomorrow, with your mamas, your aunts, your grandmamas, and everybody who ever been a mother figure in your life. Celebrate your mothers. Celebrate all the ladies in your life who have played a motherly figure for you at some point. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to Quick Hits, and we are going to start with the big story in Major League Baseball that came down a couple of days ago. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim have designated first baseman and designated hitter Albert Pujols for assignment, effectively releasing him 2 months into the final season of his contract. This was a 10-year, $240 million contract that he had signed. In his 10 years with the Angels, it was hitting 256, average of 256 and 222 home runs. Went almost 21 at-bats between home runs versus his 11 years with the St. Louis Cardinals, where he averaged 328. He hit 445 home runs, got 3 MVPs, 2 World Series rings, and averaged 14 at-bats between home runs. Talking about his time, just his overall career, he's supposed to make $30 million this year. He is 5th in career home runs, 2nd in career RBIs, and 14th in career hits. He has 3 NL MVP awards, 2 Gold Gloves, 6 Silver Sluggers, and has played in 10 All-Star games. And his first 10 years with the Cardinals considered possibly the greatest 10-year run in baseball history. Now, from 2014 to 2017, he did average 30 home runs and 105 RBIs for the Angels. But from 2018 to current 2021, he was really only hitting about 239 and was actually at a negative wins above replacement number. And 24 games into this season, he was hitting 198. Jared Walsh kind of taking his spot at first base, and Shohei Ohtani taking his place at designated hitter. Now, Albert has said he is 41 years old, that he does want to continue to play. And so the Angels coming to an agreement to release him because they don't believe that he is a bench player and he should be respected and his wishes should be respected. So Albert Pujols is going to try to latch onto a team somewhere, but kind of tough. No designated hitter in the National League and not many places in the American League for him to land, though there is a sentimental spot in Chicago where his former coach, Tony La Russa, is the coach of the White Sox. Also in Major League Baseball, last night, Wade Miley of the Cincinnati Reds threw a no-hitter, the 4th no-hitter in the 2021 Major League Baseball season. And this is only the first time since 1917 that 4 no-hitters have been pitched this early in a season. Exactly 2 days ago, John Means of the Baltimore Orioles pitched an almost perfect game. His final batter was a wild pitch on a third pitch strike. So he reached first base because they did not throw him out in time, was caught stealing second. This was the first non-perfect no-hitter where the pitcher did not allow any walks, no hits batsman, and no errors. Again, John Means not credited with a perfect game and only a no-no. The most no-nos in Major League Baseball is 7 in one single season, and that's been done in 1990, 91, 2012, and 2015, and already Major League Baseball with 4 no-hitters in 2021. Let's go to the NHL. I don't know how many of you have been keeping up with what's going on with the New York Rangers this week.
I haven't. I'm not
this is wild, Dre.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, in Monday's game where the Rangers played the Washington Capitals, there was a major altercation with Capitals forward Tom Wilson. He engaged in altercations with Rangers players Artemi Panarin and Pavel Buchnevich. On Tuesday, he was only fined, not suspended. On that same day, Rangers owner James Dolan wrote an open letter to the NHL calling for the job of the boss of the head of player safety, George Paros, saying that he is negligent in his job and does not deserve to hold the position.
Don't even say anything else. Don't even say anything else.
No. It gets better. It gets better. On Wednesday, James Dolan then fires the general manager and president of the team. Rumors circulating that they did not agree with Dolan's reaction to the hits. And so the general manager and president, Jeff Gordon and John Davidson, respectively, are effectively fired on Wednesday, a day after the letter, and are replaced with associate GM and former Ranger player Chris Drury, who was then introduced yesterday by longtime Ranger advisor Glenn Sather and James Dolan. Of course, when Dolan and Sather asked at the press conference if the letter had anything to do with the firing of the former GM and president, they both responded no, that this was kind of the plan all along.
It was not the plan all along. James Dolan got some nerve to be firing anybody for doing anything.
But who's going to fire him? I don't care how good the Knicks are doing right now and how good the Rangers did a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's holding him accountable for his shady moves?
I would if you let him pee on his desk.
It's in God's hands now.
That's the funny thing. I think Tay brings it up. He's been relatively quiet on the Knicks front this year.
Thank God.
He just had to go and do something in sports this year.
Right, but we just yelled at Matt 2 weeks ago saying, we should give him flowers for being quiet. No, and look at him. Look at him now. He can't talk. He can't talk about the Knicks, but he gonna say something about the Rangers.
Look,
the Rangers is winning too.
No, as long as only 2 years. This GM was hired to lead the rebuild of the Rangers, and had only been on the job for a little less than 2 years.
I'm just saying. I was saying like we should commend the fact that he's shutting the hell up, but no, clearly that's not working. He's just
absolutely not.
Apparently, whoever's got him clamped down on the Knicks side of things doesn't have the same control on the Rangers side.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about the Knicks, even though they lost a hard game to the Phoenix Suns last night, still maintain a hold on the number 4 seed in the East. It is almost guaranteed that the Knicks will make the playoffs this year, unless the Knicks go into a horrific slide in their final few games. It is
almost guaranteed. Don't you dare say that. No.
That the Knicks will make the
playoffs. No.
Pete,
don't do it.
I don't know why you even said that, Pete.
Stop.
I don't know why you said
we
that.
talked about this before, Pete.
You're right, and I'm about to double down. Speaking about teams going into horrific slides to end the season, the Lakers have now fallen to 7th in the West.
I think this play-in tournament is dumb.
Yeah, guaranteeing themselves a spot in the play-in tournament. If the season ends now, right now the Lakers are in 7th place, 1 game behind Portland, with 5 games remaining on both teams' schedules. If the Lakers stay in 7th place or even drop to 8th, they will be one of the final 2 regular playoff teams that would then have to play in the play-in tournament. If the season ended today, the Lakers would play the Spurs and the Warriors would play the Grizzlies in the play-in tournament. My question to you before we get to our final quick hit story, if the Lakers were to go into the play-in tournament and lose in the play-in tournament with LeBron healthy, coming back, AD coming back, how is that going to be viewed? Because the Lakers are defending a championship.
It's going to be viewed badly, rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Period.
No one, my opinion.
Look at last year.
We don't want your opinion, man.
Look at the Raptors. You know what I'm saying? And they were like faded into obscurity. They went hardly into the night. And then like now with LeBron on this team and AD and co, what you think they're going to spend all summer talking about what went wrong? Well, so they're going to spend all summer talking about what went wrong.
Is it going to be a testament against the Lakers, or is it going to be a testament against the play-in tournament? Because again, LeBron was a supporter of the play-in tournament originally.
The goal is to win. The goal is to not put yourself. Okay, yes, I'm not a fan of the play-in tournament stuff. Don't get me wrong. But you know how you avoid that? You win games. Period.
Now, here's the thing. A couple of days ago, LeBron complained.
Hold on. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Matt.
And honestly, even if there was no play-in tournament, which by the way, the play-in tournament is nothing but a cash grab to have to get more money off of what happened last year with all the games being canceled and then going into the bubble, and that's all that it is.
It adds about 80 games, close to 80 games.
So it's just pretty much them re-ing up on all of what they lost, So I think, everybody's playing into this. There shouldn't be everybody that's mad about the play-in tournament are mad because they got to play in the play-in tournament. If you haven't noticed, Luka, LeBron, Mark Cuban, these are all the people that's mad about it and are up in arms about it. It is what it is. LeBron is hurt. AD is hurt. I think AD just went down like a couple nights ago. LeBron's supposed to be coming back next week.
AD played last night, had a monster game.
He came back.
He played last night, yeah.
I was at work.
LeBron is healed and he'll play the next game.
And Schroeder's been out a while.
Yes. They've been tarnished with injury at the same time.
They haven't been playing like how they played last year.
Right.
Let's be real. I'm gonna be 100% real with that.
So
they messed up when they lost.
They were mediocre last year until the playoffs too.
Yeah, but realistically speaking, their interior defense is what made them so prominent and dominant last year. So they don't have that this year. Even with Andre Drummond, they don't have that this year. They don't.
Terrible, bro.
But here's the question. Okay, this is a complicated question. This is a very complicated question because here's the thing, right? In baseball, we saw this where they added the extra wild card, and you find that more teams continue to try and remain competitive. The reason why baseball tried to add an extra wild card is because they wanted for more teams to be competitive when the trade deadline came. So you didn't just have this one group of teams that were definitely going to the playoffs. This one group of teams by mid-season kind of already knew they weren't going anywhere no matter what they did. And they would sell off all of their players or their big players at the trade deadline in order to gain capital back. And with the addition of the extra wild card in Major League Baseball, you've kept more teams in competition later in the season. And yes, while I agree with you, Matt, this is a cash grab, you can argue that it does keep more teams competitive because if you are the 9 or the 10 seed, you can't necessarily go into the trade deadline and trade your star like you would have before because you could make the playoffs. And we see this all the time in football. Tay, being a fan of this team, has seen this happen. The Giants have won the wild card and gone all the way to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. And so wouldn't that be the same thing in basketball if a team – right, so here's the question. Do we say, oh, my God, it's not fair? The Giants are a wild card team. They didn't win enough to make the playoffs rightfully so by winning their division, but yet they won the Super Bowl. That's not fair. What happens if a number 10 seed goes into the play-in tournament, wins the play-in game, and then gets hot and flies all the way to the NBA Finals and then wins the NBA Finals? Are we going to sit here and say, oh, the play-in tournament's not fair because that team shouldn't have been there to begin with? Because
yes,
I'm proud of you, Pete. I'm proud of you. That is a good point, Pete. That is a great point,
I get it. No, I get it. but it's still not fair. A number 10 seed. So you're
telling me a wild card team shouldn't have the chance to win a wild card team shouldn't have the chance to win the Super Bowl?
Two different sports.
Only because in football is any given. I think in football is easier to do something like that because of any given Sunday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because even going into the Super Bowl, people were not seeing. We were one of those people who felt that the Buccaneers had a really good chance, right? But it wasn't until Pete and Matt activated Tom Brady, you know what I'm saying, we wouldn't have thought that. You know what I'm saying? But with this is a little different.
But if an 8-8 team, and this has happened twice, I think, a 7-9 team makes the playoffs in the NFL as the wild card team, and then for some reason gets hot. Maybe they were a good team that just had a really terrible schedule. So they make the playoffs as a 7-9 or an 8-8 wild card team. If they get hot and go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, do we look at them with a side eye? Like, they're a 7-9 team. They shouldn't have won the Super Bowl. If LeBron had been injured for most of the year, but the Lakers were still relevant enough to make the play-in game, and then LeBron is healthy enough to start the play-in game, all of a sudden they win the play-in, they get to the playoffs, Lakers are in full strength, they go all the way to the NBA Finals. LeBron's not going to complain.
Regardless of it, we all disagree.
They would be happy.
We all disagreed that the playing tournament was stupid to begin with.
Stop it. If it was LeBron and the Lakers and they didn't have no chance in hell, but they held on to a number 10 seed, and then LeBron come back and then he playing the play-in and then he gets to the finals to win.
Flip that. Stop that. No, it would be. It would be. It would be. Yo, listen. Flip. All right, moving forward. What's the last topic of quick hits?
No, go ahead, Tracy.
What is the last topic of quick hits? Let's go.
Braun Sexton.
No, you're not even giving me a chance to talk. So go ahead.
Can't say y'all because I ain't been saying shit.
Let's go.
Go ahead, back us up into a corner, Braun Sexton. Go ahead.
The last topic in quick hits actually has to do with another superstar in the NBA. Zion Williamson is going to be out indefinitely for the rest of the season. Fractured his left ring finger. But the big story comes that the Pelicans general manager and president David Griffin has blamed the league for the injury and said that the injury was completely avoidable if the league had done a better job at officiating Zion Williamson. In one of the quotes David Griffin had, he said, quote, I have not seen the amount of abuse that Zion Williamson gets down low since the days of Shaquille O'Neal. It was egregious then, and it's egregious now. So, does Zion Williams – here's the question. Is Zion Williamson not being officiated correctly? Is it egregious what the BS he has to go through? Or is this just another general manager wanting preferential treatment for their superstar?
I ain't
is
doing
that a question posed to us?
Yes, please.
I'm not doing that. That is – oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And that's the last story and the last question of quick hit.
It's not serious. So Shaq used to get killed down low. LeBron used to get before they made the league soften the Scott's tissue and Sean.
The league has been soft.
Nah, but they made it worse. They made it a lot worse. Before that, LeBron was getting hit.
I still think Bron was playing in the harder hitting days.
I was getting to that.
All right, so
LeBron was getting hit every time especially his rookie and sophomore year. He was getting hit every time he came to the lane. I don't want to hear that. Like, he got injured. It happens. Like that. Oh boy, we're gonna complain about every little bump and bruise, but yet LaMelo Ball he fractured his wrist and he out here still balling. What? Like really? That's what we doing? Y'all don't feel no other way about it because that's stupid. That's a stupid complaint. That's a real dumb complaint. Injuries happen. This ain't ballet.
But you know those women get injured too, or men.
Exactly. You're right. You got it. I got nothing. Dre, you ain't got nothing?
Where the hell did you go?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just sitting there.
I've been here. I was looking at my phone.
Rock.
I mean, we just asked you a question.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, because you're not paying attention.
This. You want to answer the question?
What was the question?
So the question was, so obviously David Griffin has blamed the league and its lack of officiating Zion Williamson correctly for Zion's injury. He said that Zion's injury is avoidable, and he said that the way that Zion, essentially paraphrasing, the way that Zion gets beat up down low is akin to the way that Shaq got beat up down low, and it was egregious then, it was egregious now. So my question to you is David Griffin just completely missing the plot, or is the officiating of the league somewhat, I guess, are they not officiating Zion correctly, which then leads to, an injury like this?
Injuries are going to happen, but I do agree they're not officiating Zion correctly, the same way they weren't officiating Shaq correctly, the same way they weren't officiating LeBron correctly, the same way they weren't officiating Kobe at times, or Giannis or anybody correctly. But to blame the league for the injury is like, it happens. Like, what are you gonna do? That's like if Coach Vogel came out and said, "Well, it's y'all fault that AD and Braun is injured," or if Nash came out, "Well, Harden got hurt, it's the league's fault," and Harden be at the free throw line every 30 minutes, every 30 seconds.
So I do want to ask, it's not a topic, it's just the last thing I want to ask before we end quick hit. Speaking that you just brought up that name, you have LeBron with the Lakers coming back off of injury. You have Harden possibly coming back off of injury before the playoffs. Which addition do you think is going to be or have a bigger impact on the team in the playoffs? Is it going to be LeBron coming back to that Lakers team, or is it going to be Harden and that threesome?
Man, don't even come and tell me nothing about Harden having more impact on a team than LeBron, please.
Well, more so the threesome, Tay, because they've only played 7 or 8 games, I think, together as a trio.
KD and Kyrie could win the chip themselves without James Harden. They don't need James Harden to win.
I mean,
you believe enough in Brooklyn to where they did not need James Harden to begin with. They could have won the championship without him.
If we had the complementary pieces that we
gave
up,
I don't believe it at all.
I know you don't. I'm lobbing it up.
I agree with you, Dre. Kyrie and Durant together with the complementary pieces that we gave up to get James Harden, a Caris LeVert, a Jared Allen, all of that. You put all of that with KD and Kyrie, I give them a good shot. But you just give me KD and Kyrie and the very lackluster team outside of Joe Harris that they have right now in Brooklyn, I don't buy it. I don't.
You don't buy it. I think it's imposter syndrome. Honestly, let me tell you something. I do think it's imposter syndrome. Let me tell you why. KD won a ring with Steph Curry. There's no Steph Curry. Or was Iguodala on the Golden State Warriors when KD was there?
Yes.
There's no Iguodala on the Nets. You get what I'm saying? And I feel that what's going to happen is everybody has this love affair with Brooklyn because it's the shiny new toy. You know what I'm saying? They were built to be a win now, but they don't have the chemistry yet. This is not the blockbuster deal you guys think it is. It is not. And if they win this year, you get what I'm saying? I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I chose Miami still.
If they don't make, so let's say, okay, if they don't, let's say they don't win, do they have to make the finals to escape criticism?
Yes.
They're going to be criticized.
They're going to be criticized regardless, but they got to make the finals.
They have to at least make, to me, for them to escape my criticism, because I see them going to the second round, and that's it. And I've said that from day one before James Harden even became a member on the team. I also predicted the Knicks being who they are today, a year ago. You get what I'm saying? But in order for them to evade criticism from me, they have to make it at least – they have to have a hard-fought round 2 or Eastern Conference final for it to matter. If they don't make it out that second round, they're a bust. Just being real.
True. And that was Quick Hits for the week of May 8th. Thank you, Pete. Let's get into today's topics. Canelo Alvarez will face Billy Saunders in a super middleweight title showdown, a unification match. With this being said, this will have at least 70,000 people in AT&T Stadium. The previous indoor record was 63,352. Canelo hasn't lost in about 8. Huh?
That's Texas, right? AT&T Stadium?
Yes, Cowboy Stadium. So, with that being said, Canelo hasn't lost since he fought Floyd Mayweather in 2013. And Billy Saunders has not lost at all. He's 30-0. Who has the advantage? And is this the boxing match that's bringing boxing back? I'm going to start with you, Matt.
I want to say Billy Joe has the advantage because I feel like he has the most to lose in this fight. He has an undefeated streak. And to answer your question as far as is this bringing boxing back, I'm on the fence with that. I think the I forgot their name. Charlies, I forgot their name, but I think they're bringing boxing back. And as much as we joke on this the celebrity boxing thing that's been going on, that they're bringing more light to fights now, and they're bringing more excitement to it. So I just feel like boxing needs boxing needs a jolt, right, of interest right now. And so far, what's been sparking that is your Tyson Furies, these celebrity boxing matches, believe it or not, even though we all know Lamar Odom might, put hands on Aaron Carter. Hey, I said what I said. That's what I said. But honestly, celebrity boxing and these big name fights are kind of putting a jolt inside boxing and getting more eyes to it, but not to the potential of what it was in the 90s when Tyson was knocking people out in the first round. And when Floyd Mayweather was, doing what he was doing, dancing around and pissing people off. So, I mean, it's hard to say that this is what's going to put boxing back in the public eye like the 90s. You're so grind. You gotta relax. You really gotta relax. God.
Do I think boxing's back? No. Do I feel that this is the jolt that boxing needs? Yes. I feel like I'm in alignment with Matt. These celebrity boxing things to me is a parody and a tragedy. I feel like it disrespects what boxing is about. The craft, the discipline, everything that it takes to be a successful boxer. We haven't had anyone really. I think Canelo is the only one that's been carrying it on his back as best as he could over the past 5 years, for about 4 or 5 years at this point, since Mayweather. Like I said, a lot of what I'm saying is in alignment with Matt. Do I feel as if will ever get to the 80s, 90s, 70s era of boxing. We can, but not now.
I mean, you got the Charlo brothers, you got Crawford, you got Double G, Triple G, you got a lot of potential great fighters that could carry that bar, but it's just a matter of it. The question is it coming back to the forefront like how it was before?
No.
And no, I don't think it is.
I think the showmanship. I think the showmanship is missing. I think the brand. I think I think the rise of MMA, you get what I'm saying, kind of put a damper on boxing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard. And right now, MMA to me has not been as entertaining as it was like a year or two ago either.
Well, the pandemic. That's probably what it was.
True. But
because of the pandemic.
No. Pause. I would have said because of the pandemic.
I said it could be because of it. I didn't say that it was.
I didn't even finish my sentence. You was like pandemic, and then Dre nodded. No.
Sorry.
No, I nodded just like listening. Not like
because I'm like, look, you don't have the showmanship, you don't have the Rondas, you don't have the McGregors like that, you don't have the John Jones like you did. You get what I'm saying? So people don't realize that you need some type of showmanship to make it worthwhile, to make it watchable. You get what I'm saying? That's the reason why people love LeBron and Kobe, but they forget about Tim Duncan unless you're a diehard basketball fan, because Tim Duncan gave you the fundamentals. These other guys gave you the show.
You said it wrong. He was boring. Say he's boring. San Antonio Spurs was boring.
So
let's go. I said what I said. I said it.
Well, this stuff is boring right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. San Antonio Spurs is boring.
I mean, Canelo's a badass. Canelo's a badass. You know what I'm saying? But, he's teetering to the end of his career as well.
What? I
didn't. But the reason I'm asking that is because I believe this is going to be the first full boxing event since pre-pandemic. It'll be about 70,000 people indoors in Texas, of all places, but 70,000 people at an indoor boxing event. That's the record right now. The last time you had that many people at an event or close to it was the Superdome in 1978, I believe. So, Pete, again, Canelo and Saunders. Like, how do you feel? Like, is this bringing boxing back, or is this more like what Tay and Matt were saying?
No, I think exactly what Tay and Matt were saying, and a lot to what Tay was saying. I mean, the only person I know in this fight is Canelo, and that's only because he's somewhat of a household name. That's what's missing, as Tay was talking about. That's what's missing from boxing. It's the draw. It's the household name. It's that person who transcends boxing in a sense. People who did not watch boxing, people who were not boxing fans, went to bars and ordered pay-per-view fights of Mike Tyson because they knew this was a spectacle. This was something to watch. This is why, as much as I may hate the man, when Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl, the ratings for that Super Bowl are going to go higher than when a non-big name star or a team that doesn't have a big name star is in the playoffs. This is why there are NBA finals when they don't have LeBron, when you don't have those big name stars, those finals don't do as good of a number rating wise. And again, it's legitimately because there's a lack of a household name, of a transcendent star. Say what you want. Lennox Lewis, people knew who he was. The Klitschko's, people knew who they were. But once the Klitschko's stopped fighting people that you knew, you stopped watching, right? And that's what, and to an extent, as Tay was saying, that's what MMA is missing too. I'm sorry, John Jones has been gone for so long that we tune in more to see if he's actually going to make the fight or not, right? But there's no real big name fighters out there. Are there really, really good fighters? Are there great fighters? Yes, they are. But unless you're an MMA fan, you're not watching MMA to watch MMA. You're watching it for the big name. You're watching it for the McGregors. You were watching it for the Chuck Liddells. You were watching it for all those big names. And when those big names are not there, those casual fans, those non-sport fans are not going to watch. They're not going to pay $60, $50 for a boxing pay-per-view.
Some diehards wouldn't pay for that either.
Right. And, but the ones who will, or the ones who will watch, are the diehards, are the people who actually enjoy the sport for the sport more so than people who are watching for the draw. And that's what MMA and boxing is missing. I think with boxing, it's going to be a lot harder because I do think the celebrity boxing, as Tate also said, tarnishes the reputation of
No, I was about to say something. I was about to say, I mean, the biggest draw that I can think of coming up is Joshua and Fury. That's the only one that's it's a big draw. It's what people wanted to see. So,
but we've seen that fight already, and that's
but it's still a draw.
That's the bigger problem as well. Like there are the Joshua Fury rematch. How long has it been since Joshua last fought? How long has it been since Fury last fought, not counting, Saudi Arabia, right? That's the thing. They haven't fought, I think, since their last fight together. And that's another problem that boxing has, is that these names are not out there being made into names. If Fury had, I think, because Fury beat Joshua in their last fight, if I'm not mistaken.
And they didn't fight.
Hell yeah, man. You're 100% correct.
I don't think they fought before.
No, they did. This is a rematch, I think.
They signed a 2-fight deal. Wilder and Fury had.
Oh, sorry.
They're thinking Wilder and Fury.
So if Fury had been knocking dudes out since he last fought Wilder, leading up to the Joshua fight, there'd be a lot more interest because, this Fury dude, people may not watch boxing, but all of a sudden, you start hearing it. This dude, Tyson Fury, he's a beast. He's a monster. He's just knocking dudes out. Now you're going to get people who want to tune in just to see who is this person. What they talk about him getting, being so good, people will tune in because now the person's a name.
Tyson Fury is a name. I mean, he's a character in itself, and he had his little run-in with WWE at one point. Tyson Fury is a name. He's a draw. And the one fight, this is one of the fights that people wanted to see, was Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. So, like I said, if you're talking about big draws, this is a draw. This match is a draw coming up. Canelo and this fight right now, I mean, yeah, it's a draw, but is it what we're dictating is going to put boxing back on the map? No, I don't think so. That's just where we're at.
Cool. Going back into the NBA, Russell Westbrook is probably one of the most, what would I say, undervalued players in the league. Would we agree with that?
Definitely.
With that being said, he is on pace to catch Oscar Robertson for his triple-double record.
181.
Yeah. He has 2 games, I believe. If he didn't get a triple-double last night, He did. He did. So on Monday, he had the chance to catch Oscar Robertson. With that being said, what are your thoughts on Russell Westbrook, the basketball player in general? We say he's undervalued, but what else about Russell Westbrook just makes him just so good, and why people don't pay attention to him? I'm gonna start with you, Tay.
Well, I've always been on the Russell Westbrook brigade for years. Even on this podcast, there's been times where I've defended him and his caliber of play, his caliber of player. I feel like he has a killer instinct that a lot of players do not have, kind of similar. I feel like if you look at him, there's more prolific scorers, but he has that heart, that I would say that lack of heart, like that ice cold blooded killer thing, like that Kobe had. You get what I'm saying? That Reggie Miller could have had. Reggie Miller's a little too streaky for me. But yeah, it's true. But the biggest thing that the Reggie Miller ever did was beat the Knicks. He did nothing else. They went to the finals once and got swept. But
I'm agreeing with you.
oh, okay. I feel as if the reason why Russell Westbrook isn't talked about as much is because he doesn't have a ring. I feel as if what happened as far as the moves that were made in his career kind of overshadowed, where he could be as far as I feel like he should be in the same conversations as the LeBrons, the KDs, and the Giannis's. You know what I'm saying? That's where, let's not forget who Russell Westbrook is. That's it.
Pete.
Westbrook is fantastic as a player. He's a pit bull. He really is. I don't think there's any team that wouldn't want Russell Westbrook on it. I think the biggest knock against Westbrook has been his diva-like behavior, and he can be very, very demanding and stuff like that. But the guy definitely deals on the court. There's no doubt about that. Also when he did go to the finals, it was a very young team.
Yes.
It was a very young team. It was Harden was coming off the bench. Harden was nowhere near the Harden he is now. Westbrook was nowhere near the Westbrook he is now, and Durant was nowhere near what he was now. You had Nick Collison playing power forward on that team, a young Serge Ibaka, Thabo Sefolosha. You had a very good team. A very good team, but albeit a very young team. I would have loved to have seen what that trio could have become together.
Me too.
And so it's very interesting to see. I think Westbrook, it's hard because I don't know if Westbrook, because we saw it with Harden, but again, they're two guards who are ball dominant. I'd like to see Harden on a team with a good forward, with a really good forward, a really good big man. I think Westbrook would have excelled with a Shaq-like player. I think, and I'm going to get crucified for this on this podcast, I think Russell Westbrook could make Giannis the player he should have been. Because it would take a lot of the pressure off of Giannis, and it would give him the opportunity, because Westbrook is one of those guys who can score and can also dish. And I feel like he would be the type of dude who can be on a team with a guy like Giannis and really get, he could be one of those guys like, I'm going to get 10 points and 25 assists, and I'm going to go get 13 rebounds just for the heck of it. Imagine putting someone like Westbrook with someone like Jokic, right? And that's what I think is missing. They tried the Harden Westbrook experiment. The problem is they're both ball dominant guards. Give him to a big man. Give Westbrook to a good forward or a good big man, and I think you could see the makings of a really good team. I think Westbrook will get a ring, but it's going to be tough if they keep putting him on. I mean, the Wizards don't got really much around him right now. And unfortunately, again, Bradley Beal is a guard who needs the ball.
Matt.
Well, I agree with both points. Russell Westbrook is a special talent. He's a kill first mentality type player. I think that it sucks that's the scenario that how we judge these superstars and these athletes is they got to have a ring. So, like, I think one of the questions that was asked, and I think Stan asked it, was he didn't really ask it. He just said Russell Westbrook might go down to be one of the best players to ever not win a ring. And it was like,
quite extensive list.
And we all went through that list, and I think like the top 3 or 4 that came to that we put up against it, and even then it was just like they're not the type of player that Russell Westbrook is. They're not putting up numbers like Russell Westbrook is putting up. So I think we listed Stockton, we listed Barkley, Malone, and AI, yeah, and Patrick Ewing. But
T-Mac,
again, and Tracy McGrady and like all of these players are great in their own right, even down to Allen Iverson, which might be the closest argument to closest argument to him, but they're not putting up triple doubles like he is. The only one that's in the same lane as him is Oscar Robertson.
And I wonder if it's generational though, right? Before quickly before Tay, goes off on her point, because I know she's gonna have a great point, right? I wonder also if it's generational, right? Could Russ have done this in AI's time? Could Russ have played the same game that he plays in John Stockton's league, in AI's league, in T-Mac's league? That's what I think.
So I think he could.
I think he could.
I think he could, and I think he would have had better help in that area.
Yeah,
too.
I think he's tougher than your KDs. I think he's tougher than your Kyries. I think he's tougher than your Kawhis. I even think he's almost as tough. I think he's just as. I think he has more of a killer instinct than like a LeBron too. So
he has the attitude of a Kobe. That's the crazy thing. He has a Kobe's attitude.
His attitude is nastier than Kobe's.
Well, but you can get what I mean. Like, he's not gonna take no shit from you. He's gonna tell you how he feels, and he's gonna do what he wants to do.
For sure.
He has the same attitude as Kobe.
And like I said, Kobe was a little more PC than Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
100%. You get what I'm saying? Kobe's image was a little bit more All-American than Russell Westbrook's, even after the allegations and such. What I will say is that Russell Westbrook is paid. I feel like his legacy on the court is basically tarnished by moves that had nothing to do with him. You get what I'm saying?
Like the OKC breakup?
Yeah, well, he wasn't lucky enough to get on the Golden State Warriors team. He wasn't lucky to get on this type of team and make it his own either with the right pieces.
He could have. He chose to stay. He did the honorable thing. He chose to stay, and he signed that contract.
Right. And the thing is, do you get any type of recognition for doing the old school way? And it shows that you don't. I mean, you get that type of love from your peers, but the thing is like he's one of the people who I feel you forget that this man won awards. You forget that this man, was on that OKC team that got demolished in the finals. You get what I'm saying? Like you forget about that. And I found that it was nice that he was better than KD.
Yeah.
The only thing that KD has with Westbrook to me is the prolific scoring.
He's a better shooter percentage.
Yeah. That's it. And I feel like Westbrook was better at everything else.
Because Westbrook played defense. That was one of the main. Westbrook played defense. Kevin Durant didn't.
Nope.
So I mean, she has a point. I do give her that.
And that trend.
Go ahead, Dre.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask though, because this is gonna be the fourth season where Russell Westbrook averages a triple double, and I mean the boys the man's making it look easy, right? He barely breaks a sweat while doing it. Oscar Robertson only did it once in his entire career, and it was held up as like the most difficult thing to ever do. And so I wonder, what has separated West, and to think that the man has only won one MVP award. Like, that's another thing that just blows my mind. He's only won one MVP.
Because it goes with winning, and it goes with like there's so many factors that lead into an MVP. That's why the definition needs to be kind of had. Because then there's certain players that are more valuable to their team that aren't winning. You know what I'm saying? So there's like, or you got underdog teams like the Knicks, where Julius Randle is reinvigorated that whole team and that whole city, and now they're a playoff bound team.
But I was going to be asking my question though, Matt. Westbrook, Knicks. Yes, no. What do we think could become of that?
No. I don't think so.
Other teams need that more. Yeah. I feel like the Westbrook thing, I think him being on the Knicks would do better for the Knicks than not because of the caliber of player he is. But I feel like if you want a win now thing for Russell Westbrook, you put him on a Mavericks. You put him on a Bucks. You put him on the team that's like right there.
Yeah.
You don't put him on
that
the
is
team like the Knicks. Yeah, you don't put him on a team like the Knicks yet and expect for him to be able to win while he's still here. Even though I think the Knicks get dramatically better. As good as
him with Julius Randle, I think that could be a quite the quality pairing.
But does that quiet down young team? But that quiet down a younger team who wants the ball a lot more and who is shooting the same amount of that's taking the same amount of shots as Julius Randle. So
yeah, but I feel like the only thing that team is missing is that veteran superstar presence. I think they need it more now than they did 10 years ago in the Knicks tape era. You get what I'm saying? I feel like bringing Westbrook to the Knicks would be a better move than bringing Melo to the Knicks the way they did in 2011. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think he's that caliber of player. He's not a get in when you fit in type of guy. But he is taking the Knicks from that 4th seed to that 1st, 2nd.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And he plays defense.
Right. He was fitting perfectly with Tibbs.
With a Westbrook on their team, I don't think the Nets could do anything with the Knicks.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I can't argue that.
Even some places, if Westbrook went to Miami or something like that, went to any team that's there, and like Tay said, this needs a piece. But then that transitions to our final topic. What's more important than winning championships? You have the superstars, you have the Brons and the ADs, you have the Steph and Clays, you have the Kawhis and Tim Duncans. Right? that was for Toronto, but
I know. But he has Siakam and Kyle Lowry.
You have Kawhi on Toronto, and
Kyle Lowry came up big. No,
so you have Kawhi on Toronto, and everybody else.
You were disrespectful.
These doubles, Jordan and Pippen, Kobe and Shaq. You have those people, right? But what's more important, having a superstar 1 and 2, or your others being able to produce? I don't need an in the middle answer. I need which one is more important, your others or your superstars. Matt, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to say the others. And I'm going to say the others because in order to win a championship in the NBA, it is a collective effort. Not one person, not 2 people can just win a championship. You can't give me a championship team that didn't have others that came up big in order to win these championships. As recent as the Lakers, right? You had Anthony Davis and you had LeBron doing what they were doing, but the other was Rajon Rondo, who came up big.
Who you said wasn't going to make an impact, and I had to show you that the washed up.
All right. I gave you that. All right, gosh. Even down to Golden State, you have your Klay Thompsons, your Steph Currys, your Kevin Durant's, but then you have your others like your Azealis, your Andre Iguodala's, your Sean Livingston's, who came up big and performed and did what they were supposed to do.
I noticed you didn't mention somebody.
Who, Draymond Green? I'm just trying not to argue right now. I'm just trying so hard not to argue with her.
He fits Miami. He fits with what they did though. But
yeah, like even with Miami when they had their big 3, you had Ray Allen, who was considered another because he wasn't the top 3. Like he wasn't like your top 2, top 3 scoring options. But he was there and came up big and did what they were supposed. Did what he was supposed to do. Yeah, he was there. You had even though I say he's a bum, but you had Mario Chalmers, you had Udonis Haslem, you had Birdman. You know what I'm saying? Look, I don't like Mario Chalmers either. You ain't got to give me that look. But yeah,
I like Mario Chalmers.
I don't. But so wow, that is crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, so your others are are important because depth becomes a thing. My biggest other team that commits to this argument was the Laker team with Kobe and Gasol and Lamar Odom. But then you had like your others. You had Ron Artest, you had Jordan Farmer, you had Sasha, you had what's his name, Shannon Brown. You had others that knew how to play the system and knew how to score when that way Kobe could take a rest, that way Powell could take a rest, and then come up big in certain.
That team was overrated though, and I'm going to say that team was overrated, and I'm going to keep saying that until
I mean, I'm just saying
the two-peat Lakers.
Which team? The one with Trevor Ariza, the one with Ron Artest?
No, she said the two-peat, both of them.
That's what I said. Which one? The one with Ron Artest?
She just said both of them.
Lord Jesus. Well, I mean, damn. But yeah, I'm going with the others. The others are important. You need that so your star players can get the necessary rest, and it's not all put on them, and they're able to be great. Takes a team to win.
Queen.
I also think it's the others, but I think that I agree with Matt. For the most part, I feel like the Bulls wasn't winning 6 championships without people like Bill Cartwright and Steve Kerr, and then and a lot of the others that they had, Kukoc. You know what I'm saying? People who were clutch at clutch moments. The superstars kind of get you there, but the others keep you there. You get what I'm saying? That's why you don't see teams repeat, because sometimes they feel like it's the superstar that's basically causing them to get that acclaim, and not realizing that it was their others who had that last minute steal, who made that important stop, who made that defensive play. You get what I'm saying? That their superstars weren't giving them, and I feel like those are the others need to be kind of excelled a little bit more, because there's been teams who were loaded with superstars who did nothing. Look at the 2003-2004 LA Lakers. That entire team was decked out with somebody who was a first All-Star, second All-Star, could have won a championship on their own team, and they got embarrassed by the Pistons. Look at the first time the three-peat, the big three in Miami went against the Dallas Mavericks, who had almost no one of note besides Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki.
All they had was others. All they had was others.
Besides Dirk Nowitzki, until that moment, was considered another.
Facts, because Jason Terry went off.
He went in. He went
off.
Exactly. And then you look at teams like Miami last year. They're a team of others too. They're like the castaway island of others, because people wrote off Jimmy Butler years ago after his stint with the Bulls. But I feel as if I feel as if the superstars help you there. The superstars get the calls. The superstars have that innate athletic ability that you don't have to do it all. But I feel as if the others, you can't do it without the others.
Thanks.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the others are vitally important. But I also think it goes to show that you do need a superstar, right? You do need someone that can be transcendent, because outside of very rare occasions, we don't see teams that are just a team of others really making it too far. I think the best team of others that we can think of that probably won a championship was probably those Detroit Pistons, because I don't think you could say that Billups or Hamilton or even Ben and Rashid were really superstars. They were good, really, really good players, and they were probably, the best player on a team at some point in their career. But I don't think any one of them was a transcendent superstar. But they were all really, really good at what they did and bought into that team mentality. But you do need, I think, a superstar to win. It's hard to not win without a superstar, especially in the NBA. But it really is about the others you have around you, because we've seen, I mean, Dirk, especially on those early Mavs teams, you had some really good players. You had Michael Finley, and you had Steve Nash and all of them, and they couldn't get over the hump. You had some really great teams in Sacramento in the early 2000s. Those Sacramento
They got cheated.
Yeah, those Sacramento Kings.
You say that every time we bring this up, yo. I swear, yo.
They got cheated. That's not
Say what you and say what you want about the coaching style and the style that team played, but those Phoenix Suns teams were dangerous teams.
Very dangerous.
Say what you want about coaching style and all of that. I mean, you even look at that
Nets. Roster.
You look at the Nets who made 2 straight NBA finals. I mean, the biggest name star on that team was Jason Kidd. You had a young Richard Jefferson, you had Kerry Kittles, you had Kenya Martin, but it was still not enough, especially when y'all were going off against the Spurs and the Lakers. Allen Iverson tried to bring a whole team of others to a championship and couldn't do it.
Dead and alive.
Okay. The greatest player that Iverson had on that
Iverson and LeBron were good at playing hero ball.
The best 2 players that Iverson had on that team besides himself were Dikembe
Larry Brown.
for half. No.
Dikembe
Mutombo for half a season. And I'm just saying this piss off Big Baby. Eric Snow.
Stop it. It was Larry Brown. It was Larry Brown and Allen Iverson. That's all it was. Stop it.
Ooh, I almost removed you from the stream just now. Oh my God.
He is on it today. I don't know what that was about.
It was y'all gave me indigestion. That it was that traffic.
Yeah, but you look at that traffic was really I could not. I've sat in traffic before, but that was bad.
The others.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it depends on who the superstar is and what others they're paired with. Because you've seen it happen on other teams where you have a great superstar. LeBron showed it. You had LeBron, who was probably the biggest superstar in basketball, with a whole team of others, and he couldn't do it in Cleveland. No, I'm talking about the early Cleveland teams where you had,
Arena Sabu. What was his name is?
Well, you had he had league, by the way.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, he is.
Mario Moon.
I like Jamario Moon though.
No, but you had pre your mama Delonte West.
All right, that's the end of Pete's.
I'm just saying, what I said, I get yelled at. That's what I'm trying to tell.
Well, are we gonna deny that Delonte West did what Delonte West did?
He didn't. Come on, were we there?
Dre, what do you think? The others what is wrong? Dre, what do you think? What do you think? The question
being an other for most of the time when I was playing. Right. Being the other for most of the time I was playing, I'm gonna have to say the others. If the stars or the main players get you to where you need to go, the role players finish the game for you.
Yeah.
And it's no bigger example than Robert Ory, Kenny Smith, Andre Iguodala, like others. Anyway, others that get you to where you need to go. So on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. Shout out to the Jabba Tids Network,
Ray,
all of those.
Ray,
yes.
Get Pete off my screen, please.
Okay. So shout out to the Jabba Tids Network. Us here at the Yerrr Sports Show, the Jabba Tids podcast, 2.5 Bros, Talk of Champions, Sazone Talk. There's everybody who does everything for the network.
Pete, Dre, they're not gonna let you say goodbye.
They're not gonna let me say goodbye. I gotta get in that too. All right. Well, so for the two delinquents, BK Matt and Pete Rosado, for the Queen Tay.
I'm back.
It is your boy, Big Baby, signing off. Peace.